and then continue to be in touch professionally and personally. Um, well, Pat is an internationally renowned corporate trainer and a consultant who has plenty of experience at senior management level locally, working for blue chip companies like Castles, and also worked in this part of the world extensively, particularly in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Professionally, Pat holds double MBAs or two MBAs from very respected and renowned universities, Columbia Business School in New York and the Edith Cowan University in Australia. He has also had executive development training in prestigious Kellogg Business School. So Pat is a veteran in corporate consulting, particularly in HR and in corporate training. He's also one of our senior faculty members at the Central Campus, a campus belonging to the University of Northampton HRMI partnership. Where did I say my name? I am Gihan Thalguripitya. I don't think I introduced myself. Sorry about it. I'm Gihan, and I also happen to be the director at HRMI campuses. HRMI and University of Northampton are in collaborative academic partnership, and we manage 3 campuses in Colombo: the Central Campus in Colombo 10, City Campus in Colombo 5, and our vocational campus in Navala. Those who are new to our campuses, Northampton HRMI partnership brings to you many bachelor's degrees related to business management, which includes business and management, HR, travel and tourism, hospitality, banking, international accounting, project management, logistics and supply chain management. I wonder whether I missed anything in between. Vatsala, my colleague who is there, did I miss anything? We have business management, HR, travel and tourism, hospitality, project management,
accounting and finance, sir.
Accounting and finance, then banking.
Yeah.
Plus, we have several very good masters, MBA, a Master's Business Administration, a Master's in HR, and Master's in Finance, MS in Finance, all from University of Northampton in UK, which is a public university, a government university in UK, and a gold-ranked university, gold-ranked by the UK government in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So without taking much of your time, it's 4 minutes past 6 o'clock. Pat, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thanks.
I had great pleasure in welcoming Mr. Bennett Patternott.
Thank you very much for such a wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. So let me start the session with a story. I'm a good storyteller. This is a very fine story, very much connect to the topic that we are discussing today. Long time ago, when I was looking for a job to come back to Colombo, a headhunter directed me to a Singaporean firm to go and have a chat. So I spent quite a constructive interview with them, about 2.5 hours, a long session. And then they said, we will let you know. So I came back to Colombo and raised my mom. And then suddenly there was a call after a couple of weeks from Hilton. Reception said that there is a visitor who wishes to connect you. If you are free, we can connect him to you right now. So I said, go ahead. Then he introduced himself. He's one of the senior director of American President Lines. He said, I'm here in Colombo to finalize some matters. Since I'm here, I would like to continue our interview with you in Singapore. Whether I could come over there. So I went to Hilton. And then he greeted me in this room, and we had lunch together. We had a couple of, kind of a something which is unusual discussion. Then towards evening, my wife, then she was working for British Airways, and she used to come home a little late. He said, but I'd like to visit your home. So I said, fine. Then I told him that usually my wife comes very late. He's about in the afternoon, say late afternoon, around 4. So at that time, the new parliamentary building was new. So it was a nice kind of a surrounding, etc. My house was a little behind that. So I thought I will just take him around. So when we came home, my mother was on a wheelchair. And this guy immediately got friendly with my, he was kind of sort of wheeling her chair and then going to the papaya tree, and she was explaining, my mother was explaining that. Then kind of a dog kennel. And it was late in the evening, around 6. My wife, the staff vehicle parked in front of the gate. She got off the vehicle and opened the gate tired. Then she saw this stranger in the veranda, and she was kind of showing a little bit of trouble. So I ran right up to her, and then I explained to her, this is gentleman is so and so, and we had a chat. Now he's coming to see my place. Then she, flashed airline smile on him. Then, a little chat, and he said, I'd like to come into your sitting room. So he went in there. Then he wanted to see the bedroom, my children's bed, children's pen, and my mom's room. All that, very kind of damaging to the privacy that we try to hold on. So after a while, my wife asked me, "Do you care to stay with us for a little dinner?" He said, "No, I have a late meeting with another." So he asked me, could you call me a taxi that I can just go to the hotel? So I obliged to drive him. Went there, drop him. When I came back home, I had a lot of explanation to my wife. And then 3 days later, I got a courier, a letter of intent. I'm been hired, requesting me to come over there for 3 weeks of onboarding session. So when I was in Singapore onboarding session, the gentleman came one evening after the session and invited me to come to his place. So he took me to his place, sent into his wife, 3 lovely children, and took me to his sitting room, the bedroom, children's bedroom. Then I turned and asked me, what is this? Then he said, Pat, litmus test of your hiring is my visit to your home. You are supposed to take care of 12,000 staff of American President Line's Asia operations. The way you are looking after your wife, the way you are looking after your mom, your children, your dog, is a clear indication you are a caring person. Now that's selection interview. So sometimes you and I, we think interview is answering questions. No. Of course, if you go to Oxford Dictionary, if you look at the meaning of the word interview, it's answering questions. But job interview is far more. It is a very strategic. Because today you find finding a suitable person, every corporate, they would do whatever it needs in order to select a person. So you and I have, particularly in Sri Lanka, we have quite a task today because there's so much of rampant unemployment, and every organization trying to be lean and mean. Then artificial intelligence going to take some of our jobs. So therefore, you find it's a task, challenging thing. So it is appropriate today for you to learn how to face an interview, whether it's face-to-face or online, to make your objective a reality. Now, to me, a job is a transit point of your career. In your career, you may do many jobs. Sometimes you may do the same job, but it's a transit point. So therefore, you find every job that you do would help you as a stepping stone or a springboard to the next job. So you find it's important. So therefore, in my discussion with you today, I'm going to break this into three components. The first one is the pre part of that. Before you go for the interview, how do you prepare yourself? How do you prepare yourself end in mind? Because you might remember that every corporate, they do quite a number of sophisticated techniques before they start hiring. They do manpower planning, job evaluation, preparing job description, job specification. They do wonderful things in order to prepare themselves. They do a little bit of a market survey. They visit universities and try to find out exactly what kind of a talent available. So they do all that. So therefore, they are not calling you unprepared. For me, the first thing when you go for an interview is when you are asked or requested to appear, you must respect the host. Your adequate preparation is a sign or the demonstration of you are a human being who would respect the other person's time, space, his energy. What do you mean by the pre-interview preparation? You find each one of us, sometimes many of us, if I not say many of us, we get into mid-career crisis after sometimes having done a job is that, my God, I have wasted my time, I would have done something else. Simply because you have not got on to something as a job that would enable you to end your career with a happiness. So in pursuit of happiness, you must find the job that gives you happiness. So how do you find that? If you are a kind of a graduate or kind of a college leaver, for the first time you are going to enter into the world of work, you should be able to have some kind of an idea, where do I wish to harness my career? Ask that question. Which industry? Because there are many industries, you find. Some of the industries are rapidly growing, rapidly changing. Some are very slow. Some are on the decline. So you find, so what industry? So therefore, you should be able to sort of look at what are the industries that will give you, enable you to harness yourself for that happiness. Then in that industry, there are players. There are many businesses, players. So therefore, you may be able to pick up a player who would concert with your values, your personal values. Because you find there are many businesses and there are some businesses, you find the employee engagement, employee satisfaction, not as good as the others. There are management practices, there are career development, and that kind of a thing that supports you in your career is not the same. So therefore, you should be able to pick up. So therefore, first thing is that do some research. That is what the education will provide you, how to do research. And then you analyze them. And then you could be able to find, there is I was following very kind of recent times, very fine exponent of slow thinking and deep thinking. Daniel Kahneman case. He said that most of the time we take decision on the basis of kind of a snapshot decisions. But deep thinking is you are very consciously making decisions. So therefore it is slow, but yet if you have adequately prepared, it would not be slow because you have prepared. So therefore what you need to do is not that applying for every other job that have been in the newspapers or on websites or social media. You should be able to sort of pick up things that you have already done sufficient or adequate work. Is this one that provides me a career? So therefore, I advise you, if you want to be that successful, break the barriers, is begin to work on it. Finding a job itself is a job. You need to make best effort to do that. You need to do research, you need to speak to people. And you find there's a lot of literature available about many companies today. There are industry analysts write about companies, their annual reports. And also you find if you read the industry analysis, you may be able to find some of the things in terms of future. Because there are two things that matters to you when you are preparing yourself. There are certain jobs give you vertical growth, like finance, for an example. If you are doing, we say, chartered accountants, something like that, you serve articles, you do your exams, then that's career. So you start with maybe assistant accountant, then the financial controller, then you climb on that. It's a vertical growth. There are many other jobs. You may be able to kind of sort of move horizontally. Sometimes diagonally. So you need to. So you must be able to do that kind of a thinking first. Because the fortune always flavors the prepared mind. So you should prepare yourself. If you are not, it is about time you do that. You know what happened here is at the end of the day, after spending about your good life, 10 to 15 years of your exuberant youth, in a job that has not provided you the career happiness. So that's a kind of a very macro level preparation. Because there are certain industries when you do that, you can see that how the technology change. How the dynamics begin to change. You may see some of the industries are vastly changing. They are not the same in good olden days. So if you ask me what was the 2.5 hours discussion in Singapore when I went for that, I had never worked for a shipping liner. But when they informed me 2 weeks prior for me to come over there, I began to read about the industry. I knew all the catchy words like feeder vessels, and I knew about some of the small harbors who are doing consolidation of containers. I need what is a freezer container. I had kind of idea to be a conversationist. You interview is about a conversation. If you don't have the material to converse, if you don't have any material to say that you are not merely looking for a job to earn a living, but you are looking for something that will give you a career. So your interest, your intent need to be demonstrated by the adequate preparation that you have made. So then Again, you find once you do that, say you are ready, that you have picked up your preferred employer, you have identified your preferred industry, then you are waiting. So you find sometime you can make a cold call. They have not advertised any jobs, but you are very interested, so you can send in your resume. Or you can give a call to the human resource department and inquire whether there are any vacant positions that you are interested in. That would sometimes pave way for a telephone interview. If I am that type of a human resource guy, if somebody calls, I will make it a point, okay, I will give you 10 minutes and fix a time and a date to have a chat, to find out how much fire burning behind this man. Because all the time you find in human interaction, what I need to talk to you is knowing your curiosity in me or in my business, in my industry. If you are not demonstrating that curiosity, your interest, I mean, you are a dead dog. You are coming to me just to earn a living. That would not help my organization, nor the industry, nor yourself. So that's very important today, because that is why when you are doing that, you will get into the type of technology that particular industry is using. So that's to make it shorter, because I have about an hour to do. So therefore, I will try to be very specific in what I'm discussing with you, but you can ask me questions anytime. So once you see paper advertisement, now that paper ad is nothing but it is an invitation for suitable people to show their interest. Now remember that that advertisement is a culmination of quite a number of HR activities. Every business do manpower planning, how many people require, what type of people require. They sometimes augment their requirement by short-term, fixed period of time, sometimes continuously to have you. So they do that. And then in that process, do every job, they analyze, job analysis. They try to make a comprehensive study of the job. They are go into so granularity of this analysis. They will prepare what the purpose of that job in terms of the business strategy, how one connects the strategic intent of the business and this particular job. It needs to fit into that. Because any given time it not fit into that, that job become redundant. You need to have that purpose statement. So when you read, if you are an adequately prepared mind, you should be able to read in between lines to find out the purpose. Then they will prepare a list of things. What are the key deliverables we expect from this job? And they will put up what kind of a standard of performance for each deliverable they expect. For each deliverable in that particular expected standard, what kind of competencies, the knowledge, the experience, the skill set that are required, they prepare them. Then in what context it needs to be done, whether it is a team setting, individual work, shift work, night work, traveling, using of sophisticated machinery, very integrated technology. So we will do all that. And also we will try to find out the personality trait of a person who could do that job. Now, that's the JD about the job. Then they will find out who would be the person who could do the job. So for the knowledge, they will try to say what degree, what diploma, what certificates that you have received or obtained from an accredited institution. That is what Mr. Kalagutpiti was trying to explain to you a few minutes ago. Accreditation. I need not tell you, but you must be knowing that today the machine decide today. They have reached out to that level. Therefore, most of the time when you are applying online, most of the tech-driven companies, your application or your resume is shortlisted by the machine. So the machine reads the machine language. So the machine is being fed a software. When you say that I have graduated from this university, you have to indicate the period, which university you have to indicate. If you have not done that, probably the machine will reject your resume. So you find every job specification, there is a knowledge content. That is your education. Then they would ask your experience, having used that knowledge. So when you are applying for a job, you've got to be mindful of the fact that you are not sending a resume that you have done, and then no matter what job that you apply, you send that. No, it is, you have to tailor-make it. Read the advertisement. Read in between lines. If you are not sure, give a call to the human resource department of the particular corporate. They would welcome. They would like people with interest to join. Because one of my finest questions when I'm hiring people, I ask them, are you joining us or are you leaving your current employer? This question has very in-depth meaning. If you are leaving a job, your intent is no matter what, I'm looking for a job. If you are joining this company, you have some reason to join. So when you say that I'm joining my company, I ask you reason, then of course you give your research you have done. I'm looking this because I'm seeking a career. I'm not looking this as a job, I'm looking this as a stepping stone for something. Mind you, if I give you a couple of examples, if you go into the website of Unilever's, for example, if you go to the HR department, go into recruitment, you find they say, we do not hire people, we hire talent. And they give you two sentences. You can see below two sentences. Sentence number one, the talent in our mind is people who would join us and influence us to change what we are doing now. Number two, who could grow with us. That's what they're looking for. Now, how can you go for an interview to Unilever if you do not know what they're doing? you have not done sufficient research, you don't know what's the next for Unilever. What is in that particular industry? What's the next stage? So you find most of the time, I think probably, I may be hurting your mind right now. This is serious. When Gihan asked me to do that, I was wonderfully surprised. Why? I have seen this is been done many, but this is serious. In my book, if you don't know where you're going, you can take any road. But if you wish to take a particular road, you should know the destination. So therefore, when you get if you want to apply for responding to an ad, do some research. Go to the website that particular what kind of a job, what's the new product line they have, what kind of a collaboration they work with, who are their bankers. You try to find out exactly what kind of management style. All that's important. Because how can you get into conversation without knowing? Now, so therefore you find that's your preparation. If you are reading in university, that you may be able to see in your alumni, some of the people are already working in that particular organization. Try to have a chat with them. Not to influence, but prepare yourself. That's the pre-interview. Now, so therefore, if you do that, half your journey, you can see the destination now because you are adequately prepared. And also in preparations, you find now I will go into very conservative way of doing that, not the online. We say my hope is we be back by March. We be facing one-to-one without a mask. We be back as human beings again. That's a lovely expectation. When that happen, you find you be facing interview one-to-one, or group interviews, or assessment center techniques. If not, we will have online. So I will come to that later. So supposing if you are doing that, you should be able to understand that it is important for you to know, having prepared, when you send in your resume, you should know what's a resume. If they ask you to send you curriculum vitae, if they ask you to send you bio data, if they ask you to send you your, what shall I say, a portfolio, these are all different things, not one and the same. Resume is a brief document. It needs to be about 1 page to 1.5 pages. So now, if it is a curriculum vitae, you have the luxury of elaborating a little bit more. You can run to about 2 to 3 pages. If somebody has asked you to send a curriculum vitae, don't send a resume. If somebody has asked you to send a resume, don't try to send a curriculum vitae. If they ask you to send your biodata, they're asking your biological data. And also, when you are writing a resume, you must be very, very careful. How do you write? Because if you ask me a question, how many hours, how many days human resource practitioner will read your resume? 2 seconds, average. That 2 seconds, if it brings a curiosity, I should get to know this person a little more, then they will read a little bit more. So in that 2 seconds time space, Either you get it or you miss it. So your resume must be a snapshot of your brand, who you are. Now, you could be a little smarter, can have a one-page resume, but a nice covering letter. Covering letter is like icing on the cake. Very specific to the point. You write, how did you come to know about this position? Maybe website, maybe a friend, maybe advertisement in the newspapers, whatever. Then you write, how do you fit into that job? And also in that, you can have your market jargon. How special you are, your differentiator. Then the third paragraph, you can thank the reader for taking time and interest in reading your resume. And that you await a positive response. That's all. So when you write that, you find the resumes don't give you the job, but it gives you a chance to meet the interview board. Resume doesn't give you the job. Resume has to rouse up the mind of the person. I would like to spend little time with this fellow. It is worth setting time of my busy day's work. So therefore, the font size, some people put pictures. Some organization asks you to send the picture. Well, I know I am not a good looking guy. So I shy away by sending a picture. But I make sure if I send a picture, it is extremely professional. I would wear professional jacket, a shirt, a tie. I will groom myself well. Not a smile of a donkey or something like that. Try to sort of keep yourself. So there was some organization asks you to send you a photograph. Some don't. In the slide somewhere, I took a little research and found some of the countries they don't like photograph. Some countries they have culturally kind of. So that's about resume writing. Gihan, if you are there, now I have got to 6:40 mark. You were to come in between. Hello?
Carry on for the time being. We'll catch up a little later on the process.
Right, okay. So now, so therefore if it is an entry-level attempt, your pre-interview preparation must be on that basis. You are looking for a good employer who could provide you first experience, a pleasant one. But if you are looking for career move, you got to understand as to why you are, because most organizations, as I told you, that would ask you, why are you interested in us? Why are you interested in us? Now, sometimes you can say, I'm not happy in my current workplace. So they are not asylum or something like that to take you and make you feel happy now. Because every organization, they hire for a purpose. Your misery is not selection criteria. So you must have a good idea of what is my interest in you. Maybe the interest in the industry, or maybe interest in the technology, or maybe interest of career, maybe the interest of work-life balance. You have to have something. So you should. So therefore, that's, as you said, that your objective need to be very clear. You can say it's my preferred career. I'm sorry, my spelling have gone a little bit of a cockeyed. Maybe the preferred employer for whatever the reason. And also that I have gone through labor market information. I find something that attracts me to this organization. I give you an example to you. Quite a number of companies had serious problems due to COVID-19. So as a result of that, their approach to human resources had been no second to the disaster. It is more disastrous than the COVID. So therefore, you would be able to find out what's the labor market information. You should be able to find out. So therefore, that will help you to make it good choice. So I explained to covering letter, resume, curriculum vitae, biodata. Remember this. These are not jargon. These are purposeful request by the employer. Resume is resume. Curriculum vitae is curriculum vitae. Biodata is a biodata. And also you must remember, you can't have, kind of a Kokata Thaile, one size fit all, kind of a resume that you send to everyone. That's not going to help you. You got to be tailor-made. So that's important. So what you think to do, you read the advertisement. In order to identify the company values, company culture, was the position, was it a replacement position or newly created position? So you have to really find out. Read about employer information, try to drag them, it's important for you. Because you find these things are very important when you go for the kind of a one-to-one discussion table. They begin to respect you because you are well informed. Read the industry and also read the job description and find out exactly what's this job. Now the photos are not accepted by China, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, most European nations. They accept, I'm sorry. Not accepted by the United States, Canada, Australia, UK. Now you find this is important. You find there is some countries it's a law, equal employment opportunity. Some countries they don't have. The relationships are much more valuable than the person. So therefore, if there's any country where there's a meritocracy that they don't dig up you who you are, etc., your looks, etc. So then of course they don't have the photograph. In Sri Lanka, I have seen some people ask photograph. Some people have this Udo science. They can read from your eyes and kind of a thing. I don't know. But anyway, if they ask you, remember this. What is on top that don't do that? But on the right corner, that is very presentable, very professional, very present. You can see that it is done with a purpose. So it is not your beach photograph or something that is not, but ensure that if they say always a recently taken photograph, ensure you have it. And no colored shirt, maybe a very professionally dressed with a nice jacket. So you can see that here. So professional. If you do that, that's very important. So you are. So I have given you kind of a small resume, which I have downloaded from somewhere, just to give you sort of 8 points in that. Now that's to give you, I'm trying to sort of support Mr. Gyan Talagutapitias. It's about this education. You can see in this resume also, you find the years. Where had you education 2012 to 2016? The degree and what university and your GPA score. You put it there. That's important. That itself is an accreditation. Now, I picked up this for the simple reason this is machine-driven organization where if these 8 points are not there, it is rejected by the machine. So your name, your contact detail, your key skills, soft and hard skills. Hard skills must be tailor-made to that particular industry. What is required for that particular job. Soft skills are transferable skills where you can take from one job to another. And also you got to be very careful when you are putting your soft skills. Say, supposing if I put communication. When I go for the interview, if I am not communicating, good Lord. So you got to be a good communicator. Communication has 2 aspects to me. I am not expert on that, but 2 things I do. Number 1, I know there are 2 aspects for that. One is expressive accept. I express myself, take the responsibility for what I'm saying. Even now, I take the responsibility for what I'm saying, expressing. So therefore, the language I choose, the way I module my voice, the examples I bring in, and also if I am an inclusive person, I will try to use that way rather than I try to use we, them, us, la la la. So therefore you got to be very careful when you're putting your soft skills, because at the interview, a smart panelist would be seeing whether are you in fact demonstrating during that interaction so-called soft skills that you have said your key skills. So therefore you got to be very careful between your soft skills, because you find when you are at an interview, when you are there are I mean not jump, let me just go to that first. So number 3, number 4 is the prior work experience. So there is no point you are talking about good 20-30 years ago what you have done. Try to be recent, but you can put about a couple of things to demonstrate your career progression. You have been 2 years ago there or 5 years ago there. Now today you are here, and then when you are applying for that, they know by itself you are looking for career progression. That's a reason for you apply. So you need to. And also you could be smart enough to say, for an example, suppose you put your work experience when you go to your education. Supposing we say your education while you are working, probably that gives the idea of why are you looking up. Okay, why are you looking up? So that kind of thing. So then number 4 and 5 you can put them, and also hello. I get a disturbance. Hello.
Hi, Pat.
Are you with me?
Yes, we all are with you. I think from one of the participants' background. So we will mute them.
Okay, right. So
Sorry
then
about it, Pat.
when you're writing, your work experience, try to highlight a couple of key achievements of yours that would have a direct connect to the job requirement of the position. If you can do that, that's what I'm saying. Writing a resume is an art. It needs to be that. Yeah. Because otherwise we can't write. Somebody wants me to write my resume, I can write a book. So but you should be able to do that. So number 6, you can write, okay, the second, kind of in order. Education, number 7. Any additional experience you have, like say at the university you have done something, maybe extracurricular activities, maybe as a corporate citizenship that you have done something, or you have been an alumni of some kind of a thing. That's all important. Why? You're showing your potential employer your networking capabilities. You have networking, particularly you find today, every career you need to have knowing people in places. Not only knowing, you must have a clout with them, because every corporate wants that. Because today, game is collaboration. No one can achieve anything alone today. If I don't have Gihan and HRMI, probably I may not. So you find your collaboration, your relationship building is very important. That is where your additional experience and other things will come. So this is to give you a snap. No, don't copy this, but of course you use the kind of understanding that you are get from this session and try to do something on your own. These are only mere tips. So the design matters, and also be reachable, because the information must be in your resume. Show off your skills that I told you, that very, in a subtle way. You should be able to kind of frame yourself. Framing is a skill. So framing is, you find that we see many scenes outside, but until you put into a frame, you don't see the beauty. Similarly, what you have done, put into a frame. You find, I must tell you that the words are so deep. Words make chorals of pictures when you are listening. When you are listening to me, I hope I am making your minds to run with pictures and new information. And also sometimes it creates perceptions. You've got to be very careful. The words that you are using, it creates the discerning listener's mind. They try to perceive. So every word, every sentence, every phrase that you are using, you are trying to influence another person's mind to accept. So list your experience, but you put only the ones which matters to that organization. Quantify them. Include any other position you have in brief, not to clutter your resume. So your GPA points you could choose, so there were any other extra stuff if you have, but make it a point not to go beyond 1 page to 1.5 page. Now that's the part. Now you are invited, because you have created an impression in the minds of people. They like to see you. They like to see you, so they are creating time. They are going to set aside other work and to receive you. Sometimes it could be one-to-one, maybe a group of people may be meeting you. Sometimes not only you, the others also have been invited at the same time. Sometimes they will conduct interview on the phone or video interview or online interview. Like that, there are many. So I'm trying to put it to you this way. There are two critical different interviews. One is called the behavioral interview. In the behavioral interview, the interviewer, he would be requesting you to showcase your experiences. So they would ask in relation to the job requirement. So usually they said, tell us an instance where you have done this, or you have failed to do this. So you are trying to explain. So you are trying to start. Why have you done that? Why is so important? Because why important is you knew as to why I am doing that. Most of the time we don't know what the hell are we doing. When Gihan asked me to do that, I should know why I am doing this. Why? The why gives me the purpose. Once it is cleared, that's why you say why. So you are telling your panelists who are interviewing you why. Then you say what you did, and then you try to elaborate how. How means having done research, because you know those are important. Having worked with the team, having collaborated with someone else. So you are how part. How is very important. Then you explain what's the outcome. What was the outcome? And also if you have something, what is next, that's important. There are 4 pieces. So you must be able to sort of live in that moment. Live in that moment. You get into that particular experience of yours and live in it. And then you are having a conversation. Don't get scared. Don't get nervous. You are trying to showcase what you have done. That's the beauty of behavioral interview. Because you are drawing from your experiences. Try to demonstrate or try to showcase your pluses as well as your minuses. You know, usually when somebody comes for interview, when they are saying all success stories, usually we ask questions. Tell us an instance where you have done so much planning, organizing, all that, but failed. Now, if somebody tells me that, no, I have never had any such experiences. So my assessment of you is one of the following. One is you are not candid, or you have never tried anything new in your life. So if I'm looking for people who would innovative, creative, they must have a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors. So I want them to give me the verse, and also what have they done to correct it. So therefore, if you could get into that, I think you have influenced that person, because candid means you have made mistake, but you don't want to share it. on the other side, if you have not done anything new, well, of course, you have never. My life, of course, I am tremendously error. Even kind of when I try to do something new because I want to do something outrageously which I have never done before, therefore I make mistakes. No problem with that. I can live with it. And the second interview type is called the situational interview. Supposing we say your experience is minimal in your resume, but your qualifications, you have been graduated from an elite university, your subjects are very much at the direct link to the job requirement, so they have called you, but you have no experience. They are not idiots to ask you behavioral questions. They would give you scenarios. They will give you a situation and request you. How do you respond to that? Now that most obviously your education come into play. So in your classrooms, if you have done nothing, no research, no teamwork, no adequate reading, probably you could be blunt. So therefore, if you select a kind of a degree program, if there is sufficient of that kind of a work, that helps you here. All right. Supposing if you are going for a online interview, somebody calls you. I have given you a checklist. I will go through that a little later. But of course, I have jumped the line, the time. Hello. Can I have 10 more minutes?
Can do,
Yeah.
Pat, can do.
So let me sort of jump. Okay. Now, competency-based interview. These are some of the kind of thing that are happening in the world today. Competency is being kind of defined by many people in many different ways. From an HR standpoint, I will give you this. When I try to describe, we say two teachers, one is better than the other. I'm trying to use some adjectives. Why I am saying this person is better than the other. Even a telephone operator. So therefore, the competency is how do I describe a superior work? What superior knowledge, what superior skill demonstration, what behavioral content that has influenced better work? So when competency-based interview is more of a behavioral type, they're asking you how part. How have you handled the task, the challenges? So like that it is, the competency means how competent you are. When you say competent person, you are describing that person's better work, superior work, not average work. So you got to be very careful when somebody has a competency-based skill organization. You need to have a right blend of knowledge, skills, and the behavior. Let me tell you a story. I hope I have time to tell a story. When my wife was expecting our first daughter, my first baby, I told you that she was flying for British Airways, and she's a good-looking thing. And one day she came and asked me, can you channel this doctor? So she gave me the name, so I channeled the doctor. After 3 weeks, she gave me, can you channel him again? So I channeled him again. Third, again, after 3 weeks, she asked me to channel. So I asked, what the hell are you doing? So she asked me, are you feeling jealous? I said, yes, you can repeat it if you wish to. Then she told me, no, listen to me. There are many gynecologists. You can find them even every palm tree these days. But I like this person simply because his bedside manners are so comforting. I can discuss my complications without any embarrassment. That's the difference. That's a competency. Competency of a doctor. When you reach the patient, how you make the patient comfortable. to reach out to you. Now so every job you have that. Every damn job you have that. That's the difference between superior performer to average performer. So you've got to be very careful. So this is a strategic conversation. It is important to both parties. Don't waste their time. They would not waste yours. Even if you don't get the job, leave a memorable experience in their minds. They would request your permission to retain your resume for a future position. Now, that's the end of a conversation. You leave a lasting impression. All that coming from that. Now, online interview is you got to be very careful. I want you can't see me. You know, I am with my wife in a kind of a, she's sick, kind of, I'm comforting her down Hikaru in a beach side. So I did not bring any shirt. So I went to city today. I bought a shirt and a tie to wear because I want to be dressed up for me to feel the occasion. So my mind is tuned up. So similarly, even though you are online, the standard rules still apply. Wear your shoes, wear your tie, wear your cufflinks, comb your hair, trim your beard. That is all important. And then you eliminate all distraction. Maybe a loud fan, maybe your pet dog, maybe a neighbor. So try to get into a place. There, if you are looking at the place that I am doing this, there are no other window other than the window I am looking at. Because that's the only computer screen. Find a very neutral background, you know, kind of aware that you are to yourself and you are comfortable. You must pay careful attention to all the background, the noises, you know, various things. You need to be very careful. Choose a small chair, not a armchair or a, you know, kind of a cushion chair or something where you will sink in. No, kind of an upright chair where you could be able to keep your eye contact. You must ensure that you are not slouching on in your chair, and keep your lighting right. Master your lighting, proper lighting in the place where you are doing online, and prioritize the camera, not the screen. Always, you know, I was telling Vatsala, when I'm looking at the screen and when I'm looking at my web camera, you find it's a world of a difference. When I look at the camera, I contact the person. Always test your gear. I was testing for good half hour. See whether your computer is working, your software is working, your mouse is working, you have everything working. If you have earphones, earbuds, wear them. It's very good because you can hear them. Because you cannot ask the sort of interviewer, please repeat the question. So it is. Check the time zone if you have been interviewed by another part of the world. You know, practice. Get in the mood to talk. That's what I did with Vatsala. Get in the mood to talk. I was talking bullshit with her, but I was getting the mood to talk. Because your tongue sometimes in these situations where that I have been in isolation from the society, it is very tough. So you should. And you can make a cheat sheet mean because nobody knows whether I'm looking at something and reading. So you can keep something prepared that helps you to be manage your time and to be precise with the interview. So that's a lot I have because I should not take much time. But post-interview. This part of the world, we don't do that. After the interview, you can send an email thanking the person. Or you can ask the person, I would like to have a little more information about the organization. Could you sort of give me a name or two that I can have a casual discussion with? Supposing if there was no response coming to you, even though at the interview they say it was a very interesting having a chat with you, then you can follow up, not to be a kind of persuasive, but kind of demonstrate your interest. Your interest is more important to them than anything else. So here I have taken almost 1 hour 15 minutes, so it is too long. So I would like, if you have any questions for me. Hello.
If you have any questions, you can either ask or else you can type, so then we can answer your questions. We don't get any questions. Gihan, over to you.
Have I put all of them into sleep?
Looks like Pat.
Yeah.
I think Gihan also has gone to sleep.
Okay, right.
So are you
Good
there?
evening. Good evening, Mr. Pat.
Good evening.
I'm
My
Danuka
mic
Pereira.
was
Yes, Anurag.
I'm Danuka.
Danuka.
Yes. So, Mr. Pat, I would like to raise a question, a small question. When it comes to the salary negotiations, how do
Right.
we proceed further?
Yeah, you see, it would help you sometimes if you're, prior preparation, you may be able to get some kind of information whether what kind of a paymaster is your organization. And second one is, as I told you, that if you have alumni, you should be able to get that information. But what is important there is you find in Sri Lanka, but there are websites where you get certain professions, certain categories. The salary ranges are known because they do a lot of research and they do surveys and they put that you have access. But you see, normally in an organization now wherever I work, I do compensation and benefit administration. You find there are jobs. Let me try to be very brief because time factor. There are some jobs. All the jobs are prepared in the shape of a T, letter T. There is a horizontal axis and there is a vertical axis. Some job, the horizontal axis is very short, and then the vertical axis also very short. Those are called the entry-level job. Either you go through that and get to the next job, or you get out and go. But there are certain jobs you find your horizontal line is very broad compared to the vertical line, because the horizontal line gives you how much competencies, experience, knowledge, and behavior that you have to expose to be a competent person in that job. So the vertical axis will give you the number of years you got to be in that. Now you find if you know that, you can find most of the time every organization, when they try to hire a person from outside, they will try to hire the midpoint of that given range. Midpoint. But if a person is having, that is where they put the experience. They say we need 5 years of experience. That 5 years of experience, they come to terms with in terms of a midpoint salary. That would, supposing if a person starting as a beginner with that 5 years, he would come to that midpoint. So therefore they advertise putting that midpoint experience required. If anyone with 7 years of experience being selected, they will give you a little more than the midpoint. Do you follow that now? That's a part of the salary administration. So coming back to that, if you don't have that information available, we say you are just applying. So you could see now, say for an example, your current position. Now your objective need to be very careful. There are times where I have accepted jobs with a lower salary, expecting my career growth to the future faster. So I am trying to throw something that I already have, sacrifice in order to gain something more. So therefore, you find I go for an interview expecting to receive either my current salary that I am getting, or even less I am willing to accept within certain margin, in order, because my objective is for my career growth in that organization. Let me give an example. Now I'm working for an organization where my immediate senior is 25 years old. Now he's getting out of that job is very remote unless he gets a promotion. So, so I find that my growth in that particular department is not that easy. Either I have to get rid of him, or he should leave, or he should get a promotion. So supposing if I am seeing that that is not happening in a short period, then I will try to look for alternate employment elsewhere. So my objective is not to get a higher salary, but even I satisfy with my current salary or even little less, because I'm getting to a place where now that particular place, my senior in my position is about 58 years of age. He is retiring in 2 years' time. So if I'm smart enough, I would be the successor. Do you follow what I mean? Is so therefore you have to. That's what I'm trying to say. When you are looking for a job, it is if you are smart, if you are breaking barriers, as it says, you should be mindful of that. Are you with me?
Yes, Mr. Pat. Thank you so much. It was very valuable.
Thank you.
And I have been a student of you at HRMI. So thank you so much.
Pleasure having you. Any other questions?
Well, I'm here, Pat. Sorry, earlier my mic was off. So thanks a lot, Pat, for a very insightful presentation. I'm sure all of us, including myself, we would have been benefited. I just want to add one little point to the listeners, is that from my own perspective, and having been a corporate consultant for a very long time, as probably as long as yours, since we knew each other for a hell of a long time.
Yes.
When I look at a CV, when I sit on an interview panel, I always look at, probably with my educational interest and background, from what kind of institutions have they acquired their qualifications, which I consider is very important. When I introduced you, I said your MBA is from Columbia Business School and from Elite School, two very respected institutions.
Right.
Now, whenever, especially for the young ones who are in the audience, when you follow a course, don't ever look for its convenience or the price. You must always look at the reputation, the recognition. Always remember, whenever you do a qualification, it is an investment for life. It is an investment for life. 25 years ago, I paid hell of a lot of money and did an MBA at National University of Singapore. At that time, I was the only guy who had done the MBA from NUS because it was so expensive.
Yes.
But that investment paid so much of dividends because I managed to work in Singapore for another 10 years, particularly because of that qualification. So whenever you go for a course, look at its reputation, look at its global acceptance. And there are a hell of a lot of fake qualifications. There are a lot of unaccredited universities. There are so-called degree mills, and there are so much in Sri Lanka. Not only in Sri Lanka, globally they are there. So my advice for the young people is always make it a point to invest in the right qualifications. Sometimes when I look at CVs, if I say that they have done some useless qualification, we simply reject it. Because I feel someone who acquires the wrong qualification is doing is a kind of a shameless act. You got to
Right.
have your self-esteem.
There
Do
is
it
a
at the right
saying,
moment.
yeah, you need not be penny wise and pound foolish. When you are
Exactly.
investing on something, make sure that pays you dividend at the end.
Right.
Good.
So
Good input.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Thank you.